Welcome back to Inspire Talks, where every story reminds you you are not alone in your struggle. And your failure is not the end, it's just the beginning. Today's story is about a boy and a rainy evening that changed his life forever. This is The Bench Under the Rain, Cloud with Rain. 1. The day everything fell apart. You know, some days start like any other, but end up rewriting your whole life. It was my final semester result day. My friends were laughing, shouting, checking their marks on their phones. The corridors were full of excitement. I was in my hostel room, refreshing the result page again and again. And then it appeared on the screen. Failed. One word. Just one word. But it felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. I remember staring at my phone. My throat dry, my heart racing, and my mind whispering, "What will everyone say now?" I didn't reply to anyone. Didn't text my parents. I just grabbed my jacket and walked out. It had just started raining. 2. The bench. Behind the canteen, there was an old wooden bench. Half broken, half forgotten. That day, it became my shelter. I sat there under the drizzle, watching people run with umbrellas, laughing, celebrating. And I thought to myself, how can the world look so happy when I feel so broken? I had worked hard, really hard. Late nights, early mornings, countless revisions. And still, I failed. I wasn't scared of the result. I was scared of being the disappointment. My father drives an auto. My mother saves every rupee for my books. And me? I couldn't even pass one exam. The rain was cold. But the thoughts in my head, they were colder. 3. The weight nobody sees. We talk so easily about success. But nobody talks about the silence that follows failure. Nobody talks about the moment when you look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself anymore. I started hearing voices in my head saying, "You're not good enough. You've wasted your parents' money. Everyone's moving forward except you." And the scariest part? I started believing those voices. I didn't want to eat. Didn't want to talk. Didn't even want to exist for a while. 4. The stranger. As I sat on that bench, drenched, lost, I saw an old man walking toward me. He was holding an umbrella, wearing a simple sweater, his hair completely white. He looked at me and said softly, "May I sit here, son?" I nodded. He sat down beside me, quiet for a moment, just listening to the rain. Then, almost as if he could read my mind, he said, "You know, I used to sit on this same bench, 50 years ago." I looked at him, surprised. He smiled. I failed my final exam too. My father was furious. My friends moved ahead. And I thought, my story was over. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. He already knew. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Son, failure doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you can't do it that way. Change the way, not the dream." 5. The words that changed me. Those words hit me like thunder. He stood up, adjusted his umbrella, and said, "I became a teacher. Not rich, not famous, but happy. Because I learned to build peace before success." Then he smiled and added, "Don't let this rain wash away your hope. Let it cleanse your pain instead." He began walking away. I turned to call him, but he was gone. Just like that. When I looked down, there was a small notebook on the bench. I opened it. Inside was one line. It's not over until you say it's over. 6. The night of realization. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, watching the raindrops slide down the glass. For the first time, I realized how cruel I'd been to myself. I kept punishing myself for not being perfect. As if one failure could erase everything I had done right. And then I thought about people who failed too. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was rejected by the Indian Air Force, but became the people's president. Thomas Edison, who failed 1,000 times before inventing the bulb. Abraham Lincoln, who lost 8 elections before becoming president. All of them had one thing in common. They didn't quit. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would start again. 7. The rebuild. The next morning, I took a piece of paper and wrote on it, "It's not over until you say it's over." I pinned it on my wall. Then I made a plan. Not to top the class, but to grow, to learn, to try again. I studied smarter, not harder. I stopped comparing myself to others. And most importantly, I forgave myself. Slowly, my focus came back. My anxiety reduced. And for the first time, I felt proud of even small progress. 8. The second chance. When exams came again, I wasn't afraid. I walked into that hall with a calm mind. I wasn't thinking about success anymore. I was thinking about peace. And you know what? I passed. Not with distinction, but with dignity. I ran to that same bench after getting the result. Sat there in the rain again. This time smiling, 9. Giving back. A few months later, I joined an NGO that worked with students who were struggling with exam stress and depression. We started a small group called the Bench Talks. Every Sunday, we'd sit in a public park, on benches, with tea and open hearts, and just talk. No judgments. No comparison. Just stories, like mine, and like yours. Soon, it became a movement. Because pain becomes powerful when you use it to heal others. 10. The full circle. Years later, I visited my old college again. It was raining that day too. And the same bench still stood there. I sat down, smiled, and whispered, "Thank you." Just then, a young boy came running, his eyes red from crying. He said, "Bia, I failed. I don't know what to do." I looked at him, handed him my umbrella, and said, "Good. Now you know what the rain feels like. Let's find out what the sun feels like next." Sun behind small cloud. 11. Reflection. You know, life doesn't test you to break you. It tests you to build you. Every failure, every rejection, every heartbreak. They're not full stops. They're commas in your story. Don't rush to end it. Pause, breathe, and write the next line. Because one day, the same pain that made you cry will become the story that makes someone else strong. Headphone, outro, gentle, hopeful tone. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to breathe and smile. You're still here. You're still fighting. And that means you're already stronger than you think. This is Inspire Talks, where every failure finds its light again. If you believe your story isn't over yet, drop a comment below saying, "Speech balloon, it's not over until I say it's over." And remember, the rain doesn't drown you. It helps you grow.